Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and this is my review for Kill La Kill Episode 7. Now, in the beginning of this episode, we actually learned a little bit about Ryuko. Her mom, apparently she died a while back, and while she was still a kid, her father just sent her off to a boarding school. So, she's never really had this type of family environment that she's had with Mako and Mataro and the rest of the Makan Shokos and Guts. So she's actually kind of starting to enjoy her life there more. And that ends up becoming relevant later on because when they go to school, Ryuko ends up getting attacked by a few different club presidents, and Mako tells her that there are these students forming their own clubs so that they can become presidents and get Goku uniforms. That way they can challenge Ryuko, and if they win, they'll be promoted to 3-star. And Mako reminds Ryuko that the more stars you have on your uniform, the better your living is. You can, right now they're in the slums, but if you're 3-star, you probably have like your own personal island or something now. But you get the picture though. The more stars you have, the better your way of life, the better your living is. And Yuko doesn't really like the idea, so she decides to form her own club, the Fight Club. And to Ira's surprise, Satsuki actually approves of it. So Satsuki said okay, so he changes his tune really quickly. He drops a bunch of paperwork onto the desk that Ryuko is for some reason behind. I don't remember if that desk was there before, but I guess it was convenient. I don't know, but he drops a bunch of paperwork onto the desk and he tells her how she'll have to attend these daily meetings at 7 in the morning and fill out the paperwork for all the members, list of achievements, all this stuff, and kind of turns her off to the job. So she forces it on the Mako. And as achievements for the club, she just lists Ryuko and the different club presidents that she's beaten. So they go from club to club, beating different presidents, and eventually Mako gets a 1-star uniform. So Ryuko and the whole Makan Choco family and Guts, they actually get to move into a condo. And that was actually kind of interesting. I was expecting that, but I wasn't really. And I guess once Mako became president, I kind of assumed that they would move up, but I didn't really think it would happen this quickly. I thought that rather than just being an episode, this storyline would have been like 3 episodes, maybe more. But it was just this episode. So this episode they move into a condo. She continues to go beat up more club presidents, and Mako actually begins to grow into the role of president more and more and more, to the point where she's talking back to the 4 elites, talking back to No and all this stuff. She gains a lot of confidence, but she changes, and the entire family changes, and Ryuko notices this. It's actually pretty obvious. The mom, her hair's changed. She's acting completely differently. The dad's acting completely differently. Mataru's acting completely differently. They have this gold bust of the dad in the kitchen. It's the entire family has just changed. And Ryuko, she lost that family environment that she actually cared about. So she decides to do something about it. And we end up seeing Satsuki and the 4 elites, and it turns out that that was her plan. That was Satsuki's plan the whole time in actually approving the Fight Club. That was her plan the entire time. So she's slowly starting to get Mako to change into someone who would be considered a good representation of the school. If you were to look at Mako now, she used to be a rebel, kind of. She would She would be supporting Ryuko and in changing the school. Whenever Ryuko needed help, she would come in and give her this speech, with her weekly monologue, and she was kind of a rebel, but now she's literally the picture of what the school represents, and Ryuko, she ends up resigning from the club because of it. And Mako, she's the entire family actually, they don't want to go back to the slums, why would they? So Mako, she tries to convince Ryuko, don't resign from the club. I don't want to go back to the way things were. I don't want to live in the slums again. And Satsuki comes out of nowhere. This dresser falls from the sky and somehow it doesn't break. There's a 2-star uniform inside, and Satsuki says, if you want to stay where you are, put on that uniform and fight Matoi. And actually, if you win, I'll promote you to 3-star, just like I promised to everyone else. And she ends up doing it. She puts on the 2-star uniform, and she fights Ryuko. Then the rest of the Mako and Shoko family and Guts, they all show up. They're all cheering for Mako. And we get confirmation that this was indeed Satsuki's plan, to have Mako turn into this new person, to have her fight with Ryuko. Either way, no matter what the outcome is, she wins. Because the reality of the situation is that Satsuki was really just using Ryuko to purge all of these useless students in the academy. All these useless guys who are making their own clubs just to get a chance at Ryuko. And they never stood a chance in the beginning, but they thought they did, and they're really just fodder. And now she's gotten rid of all the fodder, or most of them at least. And now she's just left with goodness. But yeah, so that was her plan the entire time. And in the end, Mako ends up changing back. Friendship and feelings prevail. She takes off the Goku uniform. Ryuko destroys it. Everything just turns back to normal. So it's pretty much that, like, everything that happened in this episode is undone, pretty much, with the exception of fodder being gone. That's pretty much what this episode was. And it's because of that I don't really think that this was the best episode of Kill la Kill. Obviously not, but I don't really think it was that good. Like, it wasn't bad at all, but it's kind of like fake development for Mako. You take this character that isn't supposed to be taken seriously, then you change her into a serious character, just to have her return in the end. So it's like she develops a little bit, but then she just returns back to what she was before, all in the span of just one episode. So it's like, if you were to take this episode out of the series and just skip from episode 6 to episode 8, it's like you wouldn't even notice that you were missing something, because nothing's changed. All you've done is lose some fodder. But you lose fodder every episode, so it's, these guys aren't going to come back. So, I just don't think the episode was good, but it wasn't bad either. I'd probably give it, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's true that, there was a decent fight. It was a decent fight that Mako had. It was cool seeing her in action, but I would have preferred if they were going to do a storyline like this, I would have wanted them to spread it out a little more, maybe, I don't know, maybe have Mako stay the way she is for a couple episodes, then eventually, like maybe after like a 3rd episode or so, Ryuko defeats her. For a couple episodes, Mako and the rest of the Mako and Shokos aren't really the biggest fans of Ryuko. They don't forgive her because she sent them back to the slums pretty much. But then eventually, through some type of development, everything returns back to the way it was, and their resolve to defeat Satsuki is stronger. At least that way something comes out of it. And it's true that it does kind of take the Mako and Shokos and make things a little too serious, but things were already serious in this episode, so if you're going to go that route, you might as well make it count and not just have it be pointless. But yeah, those are my thoughts for this episode. Like I said before, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. But that's it. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.